Night. Occupied France. A narrow cobblestone alley swallowed in fog, so thick it moves like breath from the earth. A lone German officer marches through it, boots striking stone with crisp confidence. But the street is wrong tonight. Too still. Too empty. Too quiet for a town pretending to sleep. Under a broken street lamp, a shadow leans against a wall as if simply waiting for the cold to pass. The officer slows, hand resting on his holster. He senses it, that prickling, predatory silence the Wehrmacht never trained him to understand. He steps closer. The shadow moves, just a shift of fabric. No more. A sleeve dips. A hand barely lifts. There is no gunshot. No flash. Just a single, soft mechanical click, a sound so intimate it barely rises above the officer's breath. The officer stops walking. His spine locks. He collapses forward into the fog, face first, dead, before his cheek hits the ground. The shadow kneels, retrieves a document from the officer's coat, and disappears into the night as silently as he arrived. Behind him, the corpse lies in the moonlight, with no bullet casing, no scream, no witnesses. No explanation, just a tiny, perfect round wound. A kill so quiet the Germans would spend weeks arguing whether it was even possible. Cut to black. A whisper. A weapon with no barrel. No shape. No warning. Just death. This wasn't a pistol. Not in the way the German officer understood pistols. This was the SOE Sleeve Gun, a weapon so odd, so crude-looking, so stripped of every recognizable firearm feature that even Allied soldiers laughed the first time they saw it. No trigger guard, no grip, no sights, just a cylinder of metal, ugly, improvised, almost toy-like. It looked harmless, but in the right hands, it was deadly in a way the Nazis had no defense against. To the resistance fighters of occupied Europe, the sleeve gun wasn't just a weapon, it was a miracle. A silent assassin's tool that could be hidden up a sleeve, drawn with a flick, fired without a flash, and disposed of before enemy patrols regrouped. To SOE operatives, it earned whispered nicknames: the Ghostmaker, the Pocket Executioner, the British Wand of Silence. And to German officers, it became something worse than a threat, a rumor they feared might be true. At the start of the war, British intelligence had a simple but brutal problem. How do you kill a man quietly, instantly, and in a crowded city without anyone noticing? Conventional weapons failed spectacularly. Revolvers were too loud even with makeshift suppressors. Knives required dangerous proximity and left blood and noise in the struggle. Garrity's demanded skill and far too much time to execute. Standard pistols exposed agents the moment they were drawn. Explosives were suicide in tight alleys. In occupied Europe, SOE agents lived and died by seconds. A loud shot meant a dead spy. A flash of steel meant a compromised mission. SOE needed something impossible. A firearm that didn't look like a firearm. One that could be carried openly yet remain invisible. One that would not betray its existence even when fired. A weapon so simple it bordered on stupid. So unimpressive it became genius. This demand sounded absurd. But absurdity has always been the birthplace of British secret engineering. 4. The secret engineering breakthrough. The SOE turned to a handful of unconventional designers, men who didn't think like traditional gunsmiths. Their challenge: create a gun that vanishes even when held in plain sight. The solution became the sleeve gun. At its core, it was nothing more than a modified Welrod-style bolt, a single 32 ACP or 9mm round, a tubular body, a hand-fitted spring, and a nearly silent firing mechanism. But the genius hid inside the ugliness. No grip. A normal pistol shape betrays itself immediately. Remove the grip, and it becomes just a cylinder, a pipe, not a weapon. No barrel. Instead of a traditional barrel, the entire tube acted as the chamber. Short, unassuming, but perfectly capable of firing point blank. No trigger. Instead, a simple push-button mechanism on the end cap. Direct pressure. No click-clack. No external movement. Just a soft mechanical thump. Minimal. Noise signature. The primitive internal baffles weren't elegant, but they worked. At close range, the gun produced a sound no louder than a door latch, according to SOE files. Sleeve concealment. With elastic bands sewn into a coat, the agent could literally hide the entire gun along the forearm. Nothing printed, nothing protruded. A flick downward, and the agent could fire from the hip, from the sleeve, or even while pretending to adjust a coat. Primitive? Yes, but in covert warfare, simple is not weakness, it's survival. The Germans, with all their precision engineering, never built anything close, because they never imagined anyone would design a weapon this ugly or this brilliant. Mission 1. The Café Intercept, Paris, 1943. A collaborating French police officer routinely met with Gestapo agents in a café. SOE's orders: eliminate him, without alerting his German companions. An agent sat beside him at the bar, sipping coffee. The sleeve lowered. A soft push. The collaborator slumped, appearing drunk. The agent walked away calmly. No one heard the shot. No one saw a weapon. The death was dismissed as sudden illness. Mission success. Mission 2. The Bridge Saboteur. Resistance fighters preparing to destroy a railway bridge used the sleeve gun to silently remove 2 sentries guarding the detonator site. Both Germans fell without a cry. Explosives were planted. A supply convoy derailed that evening, cutting off an entire division for days. What made the operation possible? Silence. Mission 3. The Night Train Extraction. A captured SOE radio operator was being transported to a prison facility. A resistance scout leapt aboard the moving train. He crawled across the roof, dropped into the coupling section, and used the sleeve gun to dispatch the lone guard escorting the prisoner. The prisoner escaped into the night. The train continued, unaware. Mission 4. Operation Foxlight. Myth or truth? Reports claim British operatives used the sleeve gun to assassinate an SS logistics officer in Warsaw by brushing past him during a crowd gathering. One movement, one push. The officer fell minutes later, presumed heart attack. The SOE never confirmed it, which, of course, is why it's probably true. The sleeve gun's power wasn't just mechanical. It was psychological warfare. Silent death creates panic. When soldiers die without a sound, paranoia spreads faster than bullets. Patrols began walking in pairs. Officers demanded lanterns in alleys. Commanders restricted solo movements at night. Fear wastes manpower. Rumors of invisible killers. Some German reports described a British silent stick weapon that fires without smoke. Others dismissed it as superstition, but the effect was the same. Officers became jittery, impulsive, cruel, the perfect conditions for resistance, infiltration, and sabotage. Collaborators terrified. The sleeve gun became a message. You are never safe. Resistance groups used it to eliminate traitors without retaliation. Unlike bombs or loud guns, the weapon didn't expose the assassins. This turned collaboration into a deadly gamble. Nazi countermeasures failed. German engineers tried to understand how these pipe pistols worked. They couldn't. They assumed the Allies had industrial facilities producing them. They didn't. Some sleeve guns were literally handmade in secret rooms under London streets. Versus German weapons. German pistols like the Walther P-38 were beautifully engineered, but they were also loud, metal-heavy, and instantly recognizable. Not one could be fired discreetly. The sleeve gun was the opposite: ugly, crude, quiet, devastating. Versus American OSS tools. The OSS had silent weapons, including the high-standard suppressed pistol and the Marlin tunnel gun. But none matched the sleeve gun's concealment. The OSS tools were silenced. The sleeve gun was invisible. Versus the Welrod. The Welrod was a masterpiece, truly one of the quietest pistols ever made. But it still looked like a pistol. The sleeve gun didn't. In the world of espionage, that difference is everything. The SOE Sleeve Gun wasn't designed to win firefights. It was designed to win moments. Moments where a single life taken quietly could reshape an entire network. Moments where silence meant survival. Moments where a crude metal tube could terrify one of the most powerful armies in history. It succeeded because it embraced contradiction. Harmless looking but deadly. Ugly but brilliant. Small but strategic. Primitive but perfect. It never became famous. It never appeared in parades, museums, or victory speeches. But in the shadows of occupied Europe, the sleeve gun wrote its own quiet legacy, a legacy of invisible bullets, vanished sentries, collapsed supply lines, and terrified officers who never understood what killed their men. And when the war ended, it disappeared back into the fog that created it. A final contradiction. A weapon designed to be forgotten, that changed the war by never being seen.